Welcome to the Foot Health Facts Podcast, powered by the American College of Foot and Ankle Surgeons. I'm your host and a fellow of the college, Dr. Matthew Dairman. We're kicking off a three-part series on the Achilles tendon, that thick band in the back of your ankle that keeps you walking, running, and unfortunately sometimes limping. Joining me is a fellow foot and ankle surgeon, Dr. Ashleigh Medda, practicing in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, who's seen her fair share of stubborn tendon injuries. Ashleigh, before we jump in, give us one fun fact about you that has nothing to do with feet.
One of my favorite things to do with my family, my husband and my 2.5-year-old daughter, is to go to music bingo in our community on Thursdays. So much fun.
Oh my gosh, that is really cool. My wife tried to do a bunco night at a bingo hall, like the bunco friends in the bingo hall, and apparently they had to get there 3 hours early to get a table at the no smoking session.
Oh my goodness.
And they came back as like, they were playing 12 cards at a time and they were running. I hope yours is a little more relaxing than that.
It's a little bit more relaxing, kid friendly. So there's kids running everywhere, but it is a really fun time.
Oh, I love that. All right, let's start talking about Achilles tendon. Let's start with the basics. What is the Achilles tendon and why does it get so much attention in sports and surgery?
So the Achilles tendon is my favorite tendon in the body, and it actually is the strongest and thickest tendon in your body. It connects the calf muscles to your heel bone. So every time you walk, you run, you jump, or you push off the ground, you're relying on your Achilles tendon. So it's very, very important. And I think that that's probably why it gets a lot of attention because it's really essential to everyday life. And it's also very vulnerable too. It takes huge loads during sports, especially activities where you're like sprinting, cutting, like running, those types of things. And when it's injured, recovery can be long and complicated. So, really, prevention and early management are key.
We hear a lot on the news about these professional athletes, rupturing their tendons and stuff,
Mhm.
and it's always that one.
Yep.
So, what's the classic story you hear from someone with Achilles issues?
Yeah. So, for Achilles tendon rupture, people often describe like a sudden like pop, like a gunshot went off, or maybe someone kicked them in the back of their leg. And sometimes it's followed by pain, not always, but a lot of times it is, or just difficulty walking. Now, for tendinopathy, which sometimes can be more chronic, people maybe come in and complain that maybe it's been hurting for the last couple weeks. I thought it was going to get better, but it hasn't, or I started this new running program and now I can't walk without limping. So those are kind of the typical stories that I hear.
Yeah, so not everybody has the actual acute injury kind of thing. People come in with it and dealing with it for a period of time. And I'd say that's probably the norm in my practice is I see more of that than I actually see the ruptures.
I would say the same for me too.
So where people feel the pain, right at the heel, in the back of the heel or higher up the tendon can tell us a lot. So what's the difference between those two patterns and why does it matter?
Yeah, location really matters. So, pain at the heel, really where the tendon inserts into the bone, usually points us to what's called insertional Achilles tendinopathy. And this often affects people with really like tight calves or people who spend a lot of time in high heel shoes. Now, pain a little bit higher up is typically more what we would call mid substance tendinopathy, and that's usually more overuse injuries. The distinction really matters because it affects how we treat things and really when it comes down to surgical intervention, too.
Yeah. So who's most at risk? You mentioned a little bit, those who wear high heels. Is it weekend warriors, those who are suddenly ambitious? What's the most common thing that you see?
Yeah, honestly, it's all the above.
Yeah.
Weekend warriors who go from 0 to 100 with little warm up or progression, we see that. Newly active individuals, like those people who are just starting a running program or like a HIT program, they're overloading a tendon really before it's ready. But we also definitely see Achilles problems with people who wear high heels regularly because what this does is it actually shortens your Achilles over time, and so maybe when they suddenly switch to wearing a flat or doing something barefoot, the tendon gets overstretched. But you kind of touched on this. Even athletes in their peak condition, like professional athletes, I'm thinking of Aaron Rodgers, if
Yeah.
they ignore tightness or don't cross train or fail to even like recover properly, they can have an Achilles tendon rupture or just injury in general.
Absolutely. Could take you out for a season, could take you out for a career, depending on how long you've been at it.
Mhm.
So, what's the first thing someone should do when they feel pain or tightness back there?
Yeah. So, first of all, don't ignore it. Achilles tendon injuries, they don't generally just go away on their own. First, you should definitely start with rest. And then you can gently stretch your calves, maybe ice, and focus on more low impact activities like biking or swimming for a bit. A good thing to think about is if it's sore in the morning or during or after exercise for more than a few days, that is definitely a sign. Come in, get it checked out. Really, the earlier you address it, the faster the recovery is.
Yeah, absolutely. I find that sometimes they heal really well with conservative care, which we'll talk about on the next episode, and sometimes they do require surgery for it.
Mhm.
I always like to tell the story of patients too about why the Achilles tendon happens to be so weak. Do you remember that? I don't know if you learned it in med school. I think that's where I learned it first, where it's like Greek mythology where Achilles was dipped in the river Styx, held by his ankles right over those Achilles tendons. And that's kind of why it's so weak, because it made him invincible everywhere except for the Achilles tendon.
That's
I
right.
always find that fascinating.
Yeah.
If it's true or not, who knows? I don't know. All right. In our next episode, we'll be talking with Dr. Medda, again, discussing treatment options for Achilles tendon issues. So thank you, Ashleigh, for joining us on this one. We'll see you in a bit.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to the Foot Health Facts Podcast. For more information on today's topic or any foot and ankle concern, head over to foothealthfacts.org. On behalf of the college, I'm Dr. Matthew Dairman. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone you care about. Together, we'll keep everyone moving forward one step and one topic at a time.